Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
Hello, American families. Welcome to this week's episode of The Home Defense Show. I'm your host, Skip Coryell. And if you love your family, care about them deeply, and want to learn how to protect them in every facet of your life, then you've come to the right place. We got a really good show for you today, folks. We're going to be speaking later in the show with Joel Fulton from Freedom Firearms in Battle Creek, Michigan. Not because I really need any, firearms advice or tactical advice or anything like that. It's because I need a sanity check. I've been here on the West Coast, the deep, dark bowels of the West Coast, for, almost a week and a half or so. And I just need to find out, am I still sane? Is there something in the water here, something in the air that you breathe that turns you from conservative into liberal? To cap it all off, I have been unarmed. I'm not allowed to carry my gun inside the bowels of the great state of Oregon. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Oregon. It's a beautiful state. We interviewed an Oregon firearms instructor last week, John Parsons. Great interview, great guy. It's beautiful out here. The rivers, the ocean. I can see the ocean from where we're staying here. We went to the beach yesterday. It was fantastic. I tell you, that water is cold. It was really cold. It was kind of like Lake Superior cold. But we're having a really good time here, with the in-laws and just enjoying ourselves immensely. But I got to tell you, I miss my freedom. I really, really do. Every 10 or 12 seconds, I find myself doing a tactical check here. My right forearm reaches down and pats the 330 position on my belt there where I usually carry my gun, and it's empty. There's nothing there. And I got to tell you, it's really weird. It's bizarre. You don't really get used to not having that gun, and it's like I'm reevaluating now my technique of visualization. It's like normally, if I feel threatened or I see someone coming at me, my defense almost always incorporates a gun somehow in the mix. But now the gun's not there. And so I'm thinking differently. I'm thinking more open-handed. I'm thinking more flight rather than fight. So it's different. It really is different. And I can't say as I like it all that much. I don't like it at all. But anyways, Joel Fulton, Dr. Joel. Dr. Joel will be with us, not to be confused with Dr. Scholes. Dr. Joel will be with us in segments 2 and 3. He's going to give me a sanity check, see if I'm still a freedom-loving American. So stay tuned for that, and I think you'll enjoy that. Joel and I always have a really, really good talk. Now, just in 2 days, less than 2 days, we are leaving to come back to the great state of Michigan. I got to tell you, I really miss you guys. I miss you guys. I miss the freedom. I mean, granted, the people in Arizona and Utah are laughing at me saying, you guys don't have freedom. But you know what? I got more freedom in Michigan than I have here in Oregon. So I'm in a big hurry to get back to Michigan. And one of the things that I put together before I left Michigan was, most people call it a go bag or a, get out of Dodge bag or, something like that. I called it my get home bag because I don't want to leave my house and not be assured that I can get back, especially when I've got my wife and kids with me. So you know what? If the great zombie apocalypse happens, or a volcano, or an asteroid, or nuclear war, or, how many other ways can society end? Pandemic, you name it. If that happens, and all we got is what I have in this one little backpack, then we will make it home. But anyways, I just wanted to go over this with you guys for your benefit. if you've ever been wondering how to put together a good bag, a get out of Dodge bag, go bag, get home bag, whatever, I went to Walmart before we left, and I got this. It's not camouflage. It's not bright orange. It's just very nondescript, kind of a gray color. It wouldn't stick out at all, but it's heavy duty. It's sturdy. It's comfortable on my back, and it will carry a lot of stuff. So, what do I have in here? Let's open it up. All right, it's got all kinds of pouches. Oh, what is this thing here? This thing is I crank it up here. All right, it's a hand crank generator flashlight here. So I'll always have light. What's this? Oh, this is my electronics pouch here. I've got the recharging cord for, our electronic devices, my iPhone. I've got a watch, but it's not a digital watch, not electronic. It doesn't run on batteries. It runs on like arm power, right? So as long as it's on me and it's moving, it will keep working. So I'll always know what time it is. And of course, it'll be time to go home. That's what I got in that pouch right there. What I got over here on this side pouch. Reaching in here, I've got, this is a solar-powered / hand crank. You can hear that. And if I turn it on, it's a AM/FM radio here. So I can catch some crosstalk. It can be recharged with solar power or with this little hand crank here. Got a flashlight on it as well. Got that. You might be thinking, well, why do you got 2 flashlights? Well, you know what? In the preparedness community, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. That means if something can go wrong, it will. If it can break, it will. If one breaks, you want to have a backup. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, look at these. There's a 17-round magazine filled with 9mm. There's another one. What else we got? We got some gun oil. Good old gun oil. A compass. I've got a little tiny rechargeable battery pack there. A couple of nail clippers. And I also have 2 solar batteries here. They're made by Survival Frog. They're just about 3 inches by 6 inches and a ½ inch tall, deep. And you can hang them on the back of the pack and let the sun charge those up, and can charge up all your electronic stuff there. Okay, I think that's all I got on the outside. What's this here? Oh, a bar of Irish Spring soap, a toothbrush, a whistle, and one of those fire starter sticks, dental floss, so I don't get too yucky. Let's open up the main compartment here. What do we got in here? Oh, I got an NRA hat. You can't go anywhere without an NRA hat. So I've got that. It's camouflaged, of course. And on the very top, I've got my first aid supplies. And this is a military grade, Army surplus stuff. And inside that, I've got all kinds of things for, little tiny wounds. But I've got Israeli bandages. I've got tourniquets, compression stuff, quick clot. I can pretty much plug any bullet wound there. But I also have, what I need to run an IV. I've got that in there as well. All the things that you hope you never, ever have to use. All kinds of ace bandages, painkillers there. Won't tell you what kind. And then, some really good scissors. Get good scissors. Another tourniquet. Plenty of tape. Got that in there. Yeah, I think, that's about it in there. you know what I forgot? I need some disinfectant. I should put a thing of alcohol in here. All right, well, it doesn't matter how much you plan. You never remember everything. Okay, inside I've got a 6 by 8 foot medium duty tarp, one of those, gray ones. I didn't want the blue, I wanted gray, something a little less noticeable. Just in case I need a quick shelter. Oh, toilet paper. I think that's the thing about the apocalypse I would miss the most is toilet paper. I love toilet paper, and toilet paper loves me. But, a shower and toilet paper, I think I would miss them. I could go without brushing my teeth, at least until my, teeth fell out. But I tell you, toilet paper and showers, I don't think I could live without that. That and dark chocolate. Okay, I've got a multi-tool cleaning rod. This all from an M16, but it's got a lot of good cleaning stuff in it. It's a nice handy little Cordura nylon pouch. All the stuff I need to clean guns, and some hand tools there, so that's kind of nice. Put that right there. All right, okay, I've got a Ziploc bag here, and this is my water kit. It's got a Sawyer water purifier. It's got a Life straw for water purification. 2 bottles of water purification tablets. And that's all in one bag there. Here's another bag. Oh, okay. I've got a knife sharpener, a security pen, black felt marker. I've got some fishing tackle, hook, line, and sinker. Plenty of that. I've got several things of matches, a pocket knife, spoon and fork, and some wet wipes. Okay. Oh, hey. You can't go anywhere without this. This is like the American Express card for hillbillies. Duct tape. Don't leave home without it. A hat, a wool stocking hat. Okay, here's my fire bag here. I've got 2 bags of fire starter, military grade, 6 butane lighters. Some Duraflame Fire Start right there. That's all in one bag. Oh, here's a big bag here. This one's heavy. Emergency food ration bars. These things, I got 2 of these. They're 2,400 calories a piece. I could probably make that last 5 days if I had to. Apple cinnamon. I've got some tea bags in there. Some protein powder. And some salt, garlic, and pepper, all in one bottle. You know what? Because when you're out there in survival mode, you may have to eat some pretty nasty, disgusting stuff. But, I tell you, do what you got to do, but it goes down a lot better if you've got some salt and pepper and garlic to go with it. I can eat anything with salt, pepper, and garlic. It reminds me of Bear Grylls. My son Cedar, one of his favorite shows is Bear Grylls. And this guy drinks his own urine. He eats stuff that would make a billy goat puke. If I was hungry enough, I could do that kind of stuff, but I prefer to have the salt and pepper and garlic to go with it. And of course, here's another compact tourniquet kit and that kind of stuff. Oh, and 50 feet of heavy-duty paracord. There's probably some other stuff in there too, but I've got it all. I've got it all in. Let me get this back in there. Man, I think I could have a fighting chance if I was. Oh, and I've got my Bear Grylls Bowie knife. That sucker is huge, but it's very sharp, and it's got the saw on it along with the Bowie knife. So let me pack all this stuff back up in there. So I got all of that stuff. So, and then I just, last couple of days, there's been, a 6.9 and then a 7.1 earthquake in California. And I'm thinking, hey, maybe the big one's coming up. And if it does, and I'm not home yet, I may need this stuff. So, put the toilet paper back in there. I may have to do that, but we'll see. We're just hoping we get out of Oregon and across the Rockies before the big earthquake hits, so we can head it back home. And I know that sounds crazy, right? I mean, that's about as crazy as a zombie apocalypse. But I tell you, you never know what's going to happen, folks. You never, ever know. The important thing is, be a Boy Scout, be prepared. So, boy, I didn't expect that to take that much time, but you know what? That gives you a good idea on what you should carry. And this stays in my car all the time. Even when I'm home in Michigan, it's in my car, because you never know when you're going to need stuff like this. So I got it. Also, a lot of clips. All over this thing. So, we'll be heading out in about a day and a half, headed back towards Michigan, where I will regain my sanity, hopefully. I'll certainly regain my firearms rights, which makes me feel a heck of a lot better. And then I will get back to my beloved routine. I love my routine. Okay, we are out of time in this segment of the Home Defense Show. Let's flip this back up. We got a 2-minute break. When we come back, we'll be speaking with Joel Fulton from Freedom Firearms. Dr. Joel is going to give me a psychiatric evaluation to decide whether or not I'm psychologically fit to return home to Michigan, or whether or not I've been totally polluted here on the West Coast. All right. We got a 2-minute break. While we're away, go ahead and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/MidwestTactical, and see what they can do to help protect you and your family should you ever have to use a firearm to protect the ones you love. Also go to Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, centershotgunrange.com, where it's always a perfect degrees in Door, Michigan. This is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to the Home Defense Show with my dad, Skip Coryell. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Do you have a story inside you yearning to come out? As a self-published author, you are free to creatively distribute your book online or using your own professional connections. White Feather Press will publish your manuscript and set up online distribution, allowing the author to retain all copyright and distribution rights as well as all profits. Check out White Feather Press at publishyourdream.com. White Feather Press, reaffirming faith in God, family, and country. Go to publishyourdream.com today. Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 19 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book by yours truly, Skip Coryell. Would you like to take your tactical and marksmanship training to the next level? If the answer is yes, you need to check out Center Shot Indoor Gun Range just south of Grand Rapids, conveniently located off US 131. Center Shot is one of the most advanced firing ranges in Michigan. Center Shot firing lanes have nearly 100 customizable shooting programs to make you better no matter what your skill level. Our advanced lanes allow a more immersive training experience to enhance your senses. Controlled lighting and target movement mean that you get the best practice and most fun out of Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Memberships are available for as low as $150. Center Shot also offers a 10% discount to U.S. military veterans. So, no matter what the weather, hot, cold, or in between, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range is always a perfect 70 degrees. This is where I train every week, and so should you. Find out more by going to centershotgunrange.com or call them at 616-371-7468. Stay safe, and I'll see you at Centershot Indoor Gun Range.
This is Colonel Denny Gillum. I host Frontlines of Freedom, a weekly syndicated military talk radio show. One of my co-hosts is Skip Coryell, the host of this show. We cover things that impact military and veteran communities, and we do it from the veteran's perspective. The show is broadcast across the nation and is also available as a podcast on our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com. Please join Skip and me weekly on Frontlines of Freedom.
Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. There's your host, Skip Coryell. Today, I am speaking to you from the West Coast, the far, far West Coast, like Pacific Ocean, right? I am here, and I've been here for 8 days, and I need dire help. I need a sanity check. I'm going crazy out here. And so I called my buddy from Michigan, Joel Fulton from Freedom Firearms. Joel, welcome to the Home Defense Show.
Oh, it's good to be back. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. I got to tell you, Joel, I have been better. I've been here on the Oregon coast, which is kind of like little California here. And, I'm disarmed. I'm not carrying a gun. It's been 8 days now. I don't know if there's such a thing as firearm withdrawal, but if there is, I might be going through it. And it's just crazy here, and I needed someone to give me a reality check. Joel, can you help me?
Okay, I'm going to start with your reality check. Why aren't you carrying a gun?
Well, because I don't want to get in trouble. Aren't you
on the Sheriff's Auxiliary?
I am on the Sheriff's Auxiliary, and I talked to the sheriff
LEOSA,
about this.
Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act.
I know. I read the whole thing word for word, Joel, and I did the online research, and it seems like most of the time you're okay when you're in a friendly jurisdiction, but there are times when people get in trouble because the local law enforcement will interpret that as you don't qualify because you're auxiliary or you're not paid or whatever. So I didn't want to take a chance in this unfriendly jurisdiction, because this is definitely an unfriendly jurisdiction. I'm behind enemy lines here, Joel.
And so when you're behind enemy lines, you should always be disarmed. Because, hey, it's better off being dead, right?
Well, no.
I must be missing something.
No, my chances of being killed here, physically killed, are smaller than being pulled over by the police and hassled. So
we wait our
well, it's a personal decision.
You got the wife and kids with you, right?
Well, yeah, I do. I do have, not at this moment, but in general, yeah. We'll just do a sanity check here for a minute. So, sure.
Let me ask this: does a one gun a month limit purchase for civilians strike you as seeming okay at this point?
No.
Okay, well, you're doing all right so far. How about no more than 300 rounds of ammunition per gun in the home? Does that sound okay to you?
No.
Okay, we're doing so all right. How about red flag laws? Are those sounding reasonable?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, well, yeah, I think you're doing all right. Your sanity's intact, other than not carrying a gun.
It's only been 8 days.
If any of that's starting to sound good, then maybe you're being affected. But apparently, it's not just in the air.
Well, I'm going to get out of here as soon as I can, Joel. It's just, I'm here visiting with my wife's relatives, and it's just, it's not just the gun thing over here. It's like, it just all seems crazy to me. I mean, I have never seen so many homeless people in my whole life. They are on every single street corner, begging for money. And I just thought, we have homeless people in Michigan, but not to this degree. And, it's like everyone's pushing a baby stroller filled with their belongings or a shopping cart or something. And
I watched a show one time with an individual and by all accounts, liberal. It was on the Discovery Channel. He was a camera guy, and he went to photograph wildlife, went to this island, very remote island, where these penguins breed. And all the little baby penguins are left behind on the island while the adult penguins are out going to get food and bring it back to the baby penguins. And they never seen human beings before, so they all come up to him out of curiosity, and he said, I just desperately wanted to give them something to eat. He said, but I thought to myself and realized that if I give them something to eat, that they'd become dependent upon me for food, and they wouldn't learn to hunt on their own and support, and to survive in the wild all on their own.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, if you can figure that out on a remote island with little baby penguins, how come you can't figure that out with people?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. But the culture here, it's so much different. It's like they almost worship these homeless people. They go out of their way. I mean, local government, the culture, the citizenry, they all stop and give them money, and oh, poor person that you are, poor drug-induced person. And for me, it's like I've never felt that way about it. My view is, listen, I mean, look at that shop over there, the Subway. They're hiring. Why don't you go fill out a job application, get a job, save up your money, and then you don't have to be homeless anymore? But I think they're homeless by choice.
Some are. Some aren't. I just got through. In fact, you heard me in the car just now when you called the first time. You're like, what was that? It was me giving a ride to a fella. My brother gave him $15 on Wednesday, said, come back on Friday. We'll find some work for you. He came back on Friday, and he worked, and we said, show up tomorrow at the gun shop, and we'll find work for you then. He showed up. And by circumstances, he's currently homeless, but he didn't ask for a handout. He said, I'd like to work for you.
Yeah.
And so that kind of a person, I can more than happily give him some work. And that's what he's been doing. So, and I fed him today with food that I would have, that I got in for the class. I had some extra food for my concealed carry class, so I fed him today. It was raining as we left the shop, so I was like, get in the truck, I'll take you downtown wherever you're going, and then I'll head into work. So
Joel Fulton has a heart. That's
oh yeah, absolutely.
I've always.
If you're willing to help yourself, then I'm willing to help.
I've always been the same way. There's another thing that's been bothering me here on the West Coast. Well, actually, a couple of things. They're just incredibly environmentally friendly, so to speak, which I think is just crazy because I consider myself environmentally friendly, but I don't worship the environment. But out here, I walked into, they have Fred Meyer stores here instead of like Myers, and they have a Walmart here. But you go in either one of these stores, you go ahead, you purchase your merchandise, you go to the checkout, and, normally they'll say, do you want paper or plastic? They don't do that here. They say, did you bring your bag? And I said, what do you mean, bring my bag? Is it, well, can't you just put it in a plastic bag for me? No. Plastic bags are legal here. And I said, what? And they said, no, the city of Newport, where I'm at, they passed a city ordinance outlawing plastic bags. And so you have to carry your stuff, either bring a bag or a box in with you, or you have to carry all your stuff out loose. And it's just crazy. They don't like paper bags either because that kills a tree. Now, give me a reality check on that. Is Michigan still okay?
Yeah, is Michigan still okay? Yeah. Look, we are supposed to be responsible stewards of the earth, but there's a huge difference between conservationists and preservationists. Mm-hmm. Preservationists waste resources because they don't use them. These are renewable resources. Trees grow again. As long as we replant what we take down, it renews itself. And that conservation is the responsible use of said resources.
So like cutting my hair, it's okay to cut my hair because I know it'll grow. Well, actually, maybe I.
No, yours might.
At my age. How's your hair doing? When you cut it, does it grow back, Joel?
Oh man, I got some widow's peaks going on, so
yeah.
I'm in a little bit of trouble.
Well, when I was younger, it was okay.
Right.
It's going to fall out whether it's long or short, right?
Sooner or later.
Well, what was the other thing? There's the homeless people, the plastic bag thing. Oh, they won't let me pump my own gas. Apparently, it's a state law in Oregon that it's some type of a crime to get out and pump your own gas at a gas station. And I did the research on that. I'm asking people, why can't I pump my own gas? And it's like it's been that way since 1951 in the state of Oregon. And their answer is, well, why would you want to pump your own gas? And I said, well, I'm used to doing it, and it's a lot faster. I pulled up to the gas station 2 days ago, and I had to wait for 15 minutes before the guy got done pumping everyone else's gas before he could even come to the window. And I thought, and I asked him, why can't I pump my own gas? And he says, well, gasoline is a hazardous product, and you haven't been properly trained in how to dispense this fuel. And I thought, how much training do I need? I've been doing it my whole life, but I don't know.
See, and I was always told in school by my teacher that if I didn't study my Psalms and learn how to read and write and do all that stuff, that one day I'd have a job with my name on my shirt.
There you go.
In other words, he was denigrating, going, I would be working at a gas station my whole life.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure that out. But I don't get that. But, you're actually old enough, Skip, that you remember when we had full-service gas stations here in Michigan. You had a choice.
Will you stop it? Stop with the old stuff. I do, okay? I do remember that.
I'm old enough to remember it, so I know you're old enough.
Well, that seems like I remember gas for 25 cents a gallon. But I
can remember it as low as 76 cents a gallon.
Yeah, well, I remember when gas first hit 50 cents a gallon. I think it was 52.9 at my local gas station, and I was appalled. I was outraged. I think I was like, 18, 19 years old, and that was during, the Jimmy Carter administration, and, there was that Iran crisis where they, took some of our embassy hostage, right? And, yeah, it's just never been the same since then. I wish Donald Trump had been president back then. President Donald Trump today, then. I don't know what he was like back then. But anyways, I just wanted a reality check, and I knew you could give it to me. And I've got 3 or 4 more days here, Joel. And boy, I cannot wait to hit the Washington State line. Although Washington State is kind of going the way of Oregon and California as well. They're passing or trying to pass some draconian gun laws up in Washington. Here.
They already have.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the Washington ones that they passed already.
Oh, they've already got private sales stuff that you can't do without doing background checks, even between family members. They've got, and basically they wanted to get them through there because it was a direct affront to the Second Amendment Foundation, who has had some great successes in court.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they deliberately targeted Washington State for that.
Yeah. That's where Dave Workman is, out of Seattle, I think, with Second Amendment Foundation.
Yes.
Well, all right. Well, you've got me back on the straight and narrow here, and I think I'm mentally prepared to re-enter Michigan society when I get back there. So we're leaving on Monday, actually Tuesday, early Tuesday morning. We're going to get out of here as fast as I can. Actually, fortunately, my in-laws don't listen to this show, or else I'd be in big trouble. But anyways, Joel, we're going to take a 2-minute break. And, since you have, made me feel better about who I am on the West Coast, when we come back, we're going to let you set the agenda. You're going to talk about anything that you want to talk about. And I know you've got something to talk about because you're Joel Fulton. So, 2-minute break. While we're away, go ahead and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/MidwestTactical, and then check out Center Shot Indoor Gun Range in Dorr, Michigan, where it's always a perfect 70 degrees. This is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
This is Felix Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Always use guns safely and wisely. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 19 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if life was like the movies and the good guys always won? In today's world, if you're forced to use your firearm to protect yourself, you will need protection. Firearms Legal Protection is here for you. FLP provides you with seasoned, experienced attorneys that handle your criminal and civil matters as a result of you protecting yourself. FirearmsLegal.com provides its members with uncapped attorney's fees, bail bond protection, and coverage in all 50 states. We are not a reimbursement plan. You can access uncapped attorney's fees for as low as $10 a month. Firearms Legal members are provided with educational services, training videos, and access to our vast national attorney network. While you're protecting yourself, let Firearms Legal protect you.
Listen up, folks. This is important. There are plenty of legal protection services out there, but none will protect you as well as Firearms Legal Protection. This is the one I use and the only one I recommend. Visit firearmslegal.com/MidwestTactical and protect your family now. Would you like to take your tactical and marksmanship training to the next level? If the answer is yes, you need to check out Center Shot Indoor Gun Range just south of Grand Rapids, conveniently located off US 131. Center Shot is one of the most advanced firing ranges in Michigan. Center Shot firing lanes have nearly 100 customizable shooting programs to make you better no matter what your skill level. Our advanced lanes allow a more immersive training experience to enhance your senses. Controlled lighting and target movement mean that you get the best practice and most fun out of Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Memberships are available for as low as $150. Center Shot also offers a 10% discount to U.S. military veterans. So, no matter what the weather, hot, cold, or in between, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range is always a perfect 70 degrees. This is where I train every week, and so should you. Find out more by going to CenterShotGunRange.com or call them at 616-371-7468. Stay safe, and I'll see you at Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Hey folks, I want to tell you about my new book, Concealed Carry for Christians. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and your family, and that includes people of faith. Our churches are not as safe as they used to be, and that's why I included chapters on forming church safety teams and stopping mass shooters. You can get Concealed Carry for Christians real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell, Concealed Carry for Christians, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Concealed Carry for Christians by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. Today we are speaking with my good buddy from Michigan, Joel Fulton from Freedom Firearms in Battle Creek. Joel, thank you for the reality check. I appreciate that very much. Now, as promised, what's on your mind today, Joel?
You know, some of the stuff I've been doing lately is maybe a little bit more off the grid or not thought about a lot. So I have been doing some stuff lately that people might initially think, what are you getting involved with that for? But it actually was at the impetus of the National Shooting Sports Foundation, as you know, is the trade organization for firearms manufacturers, firearms retailers, etc. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the NRA is for individuals, the NSSF is for manufacturers and retail.
Yep.
And they have formed a partnership with the Veterans Administration.
Oh, I like that.
Yep. And what they're specifically looking at is working toward preventing suicide.
Mm.
We know that a lot of our suicides in the United States currently are with our military veterans.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gone after that very large population first, and we are partnering with them to try and help find solutions to the suicide issue in the United States, especially with our veterans, police, etc.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't mean that it's exclusively for that. We've looked at other things. We're partnering currently. We've been brought in as part of an organization over in Kalamazoo. There's a mental health organization over there. Not only us, but several other firearms shops in the area have been brought in on that. To give them a perspective, because they don't understand firearms as well or may not have as much education about how firearms work, how the laws work, and what our perspective is necessarily on rights versus responsibilities and where you can make some inroads for education.
Mm-hmm.
So they've sought our input on that, which has been very refreshing, and we've been working towards some action items. It just formed within the last 4 or 5 months, and we've been working actively in that. And then also, now that has happened in Kalamazoo, actually Summit Point here in Battle Creek is about to form an organization similar to that. We're about to have a meeting with the sheriff and with the chief of police in Battle Creek, and we are going to discuss how we can implement some of this stuff here in Battle Creek, and just get more education out there. And I'll give you, for instance, recently I had an incident at my gun shop, and a lady came in early on a Saturday morning. I didn't happen to have a class that morning, and she came in and she looked over a gun, and you went, she might be a little eccentric, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of the feel you had, but nothing to really go, this person shouldn't have a firearm. And of course, we rely heavily on the NICS check. So she picked out her firearm, and we did the paperwork. She passed the NICS check, no problem, and out the door she goes with her firearm. 2 hours later, police officer comes in, an officer that I'm familiar with, and I said, "Hey, what's going on, Sergeant?" He said, "Hey, did you just sell a gun to?" And he said, "So-and-so." And I said, "Well, you're either a really good guesser or something is terribly wrong."
Yeah.
And so he's been an officer for quite a while, been on the force for quite a while. And he said, "Yeah, I can't tell you all the circumstances, but do you have the paperwork and do you have the purchase permit?" The purchase permit? He said, "Yeah, you have to have a purchase permit to purchase a gun." He said, "No, not for me, she doesn't." He said, "What?" I said, "No, you have to have a purchase permit." I said, "No." I said, "That changed back in 2009, 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and now we simply do the NICS check because we're not duplicating efforts anymore. If you buy it from a commercial facility, I'm doing a background check, and so we don't have to have a purchase permit. They just come in and buy it." He said, "No kidding." Now, look, I don't expect officers to know every single law and every time it changes, right? And for him, he was basing it on what he had always known. And they had dealt with the lady. She had tried to commit suicide.
Oh.
And they didn't, they didn't immediately hospitalize her. She was kind of, they were like, she'll be okay for the weekend. She doesn't have access. They rounded up all the firearms that she had access to. And their thought process was, she can't get another firearm this weekend because our office is closed, and so she can't get a purchase permit.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And they didn't realize that she could come into the gun shop, and all I had to do was do the NICS check.
Yeah.
Well, the incident certainly isn't going to be adjudicated. It's not going to be reported up to the NICS system. So there's that gap and that hole there where had the officers realized that, they may have taken a different action and said, "Look, she needs to be hospitalized right now," rather than, being more gentle.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that we're looking at working with. Look, we need to try and help folks that need mental health, that need to have access to that, and to help them through the situations that they're facing that they don't seem to be able to cope with in life, and get them the coping skills they need before they find permanent solutions to temporary problems.
Yeah.
The reason the NSSF has gotten involved with this is because statistically they keep using suicides against us for statistical purposes when spouting off gun control. They say 33,000 people are killed every year with firearms. Well, that's true, but 23,000 of those are self-inflicted.
Yeah.
So rather than us keep shouting 23,000 are self-inflicted and those don't count, well, you know what, they do kind of count, right? We still got a loss of life, and people who commit suicide with firearms are generally more successful when they attempt it.
You're right.
People who attempt it other ways aren't as successful. You know, swallowing a bottle of pills and drinking alcohol is not necessarily successful. You could be successful, but your success rate isn't as assured.
Mm-hmm.
When you put a bullet into your mouth and you squeeze the trigger, it's pretty final.
Yep. Yeah.
So rather than just saying it doesn't count, the NSSF has said, you know what, just like we did with childhood accidents and starting Project Child Safe and making sure that every police department had free locks that they could give away to folks with guns so they could lock their firearms up, we're going to start doing the same thing with suicide, and we're going to take an active approach in it, and we're going to do as much as we can to help solve this problem. Instead of just talking about it, we're going to work to solve it, and we're going to work to reduce things. So it's one of those things I've been happy to start getting involved in. My store manager has been very, very active in the group. My time's a little more divided, so I've been over there a couple times, but my store manager has been very active in it, and I'm really looking forward to having some more access here in the city of Battle Creek and in Calhoun County toward educational efforts. We got a pamphlet from the National Shooting Sports Foundation on suicide prevention that we're now including with the sale of every firearm. Because, look, maybe you're buying a firearm and you're not intending to commit suicide, but maybe you've got a family member that has shown some signs and you don't realize it, and you read through this pamphlet and you go, hey, you know what, I better be pretty responsible with this firearm, because now I suddenly realize I've got a family member that may be dealing with some depression or some mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. How far along is this, Joel? This is a nationwide thing? Is it launched nationwide, or is there a future?
It was launched in about 7 states initially that the NSF has been working in, simply because those states have had a higher percentage of veteran suicide where they worked with the VA. And on this committee that we're working with in Kalamazoo, we're working with several mental health professionals, as well as folks from the Sheriff's Department. One of the guys I used to work security with out at the Air National Guard base, who is now retired, is working with the Veterans Administration, so he's in the room, so I've got some familiarity there with some connections that I've developed over the lifetime, and it's been a privilege to be able to work on this. And as we develop some action items and we can start implementing things, the NSSF has provided some financial funding, but they're really going, look, we can't tell you what to do. We can give you some guidance. We can establish some partnerships. But every local area is different. So as you guys develop some best practices, then we'll figure out what's really going to work and try and help form these organizations in other parts of the country. So I think they're taking a grassroots, ground-level approach and letting us as experts and as professionals start developing some material that may help us and some practices that may help us gain some ground on helping folks not be in situations where they feel like they don't have any other hope.
Yeah. This is Skip Coryell on the Home Defense Show. We're speaking with Joel Fulton from Freedom Firearms in Battle Creek, Michigan. Joel, I'm totally on board. This is just a fantastic idea, long overdue, I think. And if we can help even a couple of people, man, I think we should definitely do that. I've had a student commit suicide before, after taking my class. And, it's like when I'm teaching my class, I'm not thinking, oh gosh, are they going to commit suicide? You don't get to know them that well personally to figure out, what their personal problems are. But it happens from time to time. And like you said, boy, the success rate with a firearm, by design is going to be pretty darn high. So,
yeah.
Boy, how can our listeners find out more about that?
Well, and I think as we develop more in this organization, I think this is going to become more and more public. Right now, we're developing stuff and moving in that direction. But I think listeners, as the coming months come by, we're going to make it more public.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And I think they will hear about some of this stuff, and then as you find ways that you can get involved, and we find things for people to do, that many hands make light work. So as we develop stuff and get an action, an organization, and a plan together, then we'll reach out to more and more folks, especially the gun community, because I think the gun community is always willing to help in situations like this, especially as it relates to our veterans. I can't think of a community that's probably more pro-military than the firearms community.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I definitely agree with that. And a thought just occurred to me. When this gets up and running, or maybe even before that, I would love to have someone from this organization on Front Lines of Freedom, the military veteran talk show that I'm on.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Oh, Joel, that would just be fantastic. I mean, almost all of we're on 257 stations nationwide, and most of our listeners are veterans or, veteran family. So, boy, it's a shame we have so much suicide, and the answer to suicide is just so complicated. It's like, it's hard. It's really hard. So if we can help, that would be just fantastic, Joel. You are a very, very versatile person. You went from the first segment to giving me a sanity check, and now we're talking about a different aspect of mental health, gun-related suicide. So, my God, do you have a psychology degree or something, Joel?
I took some psychology in college. Most of it I used in the bar when I was younger just to pick up girls, but I try to use it for more positive purposes these days.
I'm glad that you're still growing even after all these years, Joel. Joel,
well, you've watched most of that growth.
Oh, yes, I have. I'm happy and proud to have you and Jared as good friends. Joel, we're about out of time here, but before we go, please tell people how they can find out about Freedom Firearms in Battle Creek.
We'd love to have you in at Freedom Firearms anytime. We have an indoor range, and we have a full-service retail facility as well as educational stuff. So you can find us at 539 Capitol Avenue Southwest in Battle Creek, Michigan. You can call us at 269-968-4CCW. That's 269-968-4CCW. Or you can find us on the web at www.freedomfirearms.biz. That's freedomfirearms.biz. Or you can shop us online at freedomfirearms-online.com. That's freedomfirearms-online.com. And love to have friends come in and meet new friends all the time.
Awesome. So that's Freedom Firearms in Battle Creek, Michigan, the compassionate gun store. So, Joel,
absolutely.
Hey, thanks for the sanity check. I will be back in Michigan in about 1 week, so I look forward to seeing you again, and I especially look forward to seeing you at the Second Amendment March, September 10, coming up here in the fall, Joel.
Oh, it's always a privilege to be able to be the MC for that, so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a great time.
Awesome. All right, folks, we've got a 2-minute break. Oh, Joel, thank you for being on Home Defense Show today.
My pleasure, always.
All right, folks, we got a 2-minute break here. While we're away, go ahead and check out Freedom Firearms there in Battle Creek, Michigan. Do a Google search on Joel Fulton in Battle Creek, and just, there's a lot to this guy. So he's just not another pretty face. All right, folks, we got 2 minutes. Go ahead and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical, and also centershotgunrange.com. This is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to my dad's Home Defense Radio show. You're gonna love it.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 19 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell, Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry book by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
This is Colonel Danny Gillum. I host Frontlines of Freedom, a weekly syndicated military talk radio show. One of my co-hosts is Skip Coryell, the host of this show. We cover things that impact military and veteran communities, and we do it from the veteran's perspective. The show is broadcast across the nation and is also available as a podcast on our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com. Please join Skip and me weekly on Frontlines of Freedom. Skip, it's time for our Armed America Report. What do you have?
All of us here at Frontlines of Freedom want our listeners to get trained and get armed in that order. We fully support the right to keep and bear arms for all law-abiding families, and we encourage you to find out about the laws governing use of deadly force in your state and follow them to the letter. And of course, don't forget to follow the rules of safety and common sense whenever you're carrying a firearm to protect the ones you love. What's the story this week, Colonel?
Chicago police tell the Chicago Tribune that an investigation revealed that a 41-year-old man was a concealed carry license holder who drew his weapon and fired only after he was confronted with an armed man trying to steal his car. The shooting happened early Friday. Police say the man was driving a BMW in the downtown area when his vehicle was rear-ended. When the driver got out, he was confronted by a man who pulled out a gun, announced a carjacking, and demanded the man's keys. When the gunman pushed the man into the BMW, the man grabbed his weapon and shot the carjacker in the head.
Thanks, Colonel. Many people don't realize this, but even in Chicago, it is possible for Illinois residents to obtain a concealed carry permit for personal defense, provided they follow the legal procedure. The Illinois Concealed Carry Bill was passed into law in 2013. Illinois was the last state in the country to pass concealed carry into law, and it was only after their state Supreme Court forced the legislature to do so. The Illinois law requires that residents successfully complete a 16-hour course of instruction, be at least 21 years of age, and they must possess a valid firearms owner ID card, which is issued by the Illinois State Police. The list of no-carry zones, even for those with a valid permit, is too long to list in this segment. In general, Illinois gun laws are not considered to be very friendly towards gun owners. Non-resident concealed carry permits, licenses issued by other states, are not recognized in the state of Illinois, except that non-residents in possession of a carry permit or license from their home state may carry in a vehicle while traveling through Illinois. However, if you stop for food or gas, you must lock your gun inside your car. When you get out of your car to pump the gas, make sure other passengers also exit the vehicle, or they may be prosecuted with felony firearms possession. If you get pulled over in the state of Illinois while carrying a pistol, you do not have to immediately disclose this fact to police. However, if they specifically ask, "Are there any weapons inside the vehicle?" you must answer truthfully. Just remember this: the closer you get to Chicago, the less friendly the attitudes and laws toward gun owners will be. But in the case of this man, he was legally licensed and followed all the rules. And as an added bonus, he made a great one-shot stop to the head of the carjacker. Frontlines of Freedom salutes this Chicago man on a job well done.
Amen.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my new book, Concealed Carry for Christians. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and your family, and that includes people of faith. Our churches are not as safe as they used to be, and that's why I included chapters on forming church safety teams and stopping mass shooters. You can get Concealed Carry for Christians real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell, Concealed Carry for Christians, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Concealed Carry for Christians by yours truly, Skip Coryell. Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. Welcome to Segment 4, a.k.a. The Wrap-Up. Joel Fulton, Freedom Firearms. Proud to have him as my good friend, my Second Amendment buddy, and my doctor. Who knew, right? Well, it looks like I've been certified, not certifiably insane, but certifiably sane, by a Second Amendment doctor who knows what he's talking about. So, Dr. Joel, thank you very much. You have certified me sane and able to return to normalcy in Michigan. So, day after tomorrow, we're heading out of here. I've had my last latte on the coast.
All right, and I'm heading home, and we are returning to the great state of Michigan. Now, one thing that I wanted to talk about, Joel mentioned LEOSA. That's the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act, better known as H.R. 218. And basically what that does is that's a federal law that it allows law enforcement officers who meet certain requirements to travel across state lines, regardless of whether or not they have a CPL or reciprocity or anything like that. Joel said, hey, why aren't you just carrying? I mean, you can carry under LEOSA, H.R. 218, and I wish it were that simple, that cut and dried. But I don't think that it is. I went ahead and I did due diligence, and I did a search. I came across an article that I think is pretty good. It was done by NRA-ILA and Institute for Legislative Action, one of their lawyers. And the article is titled, Who Qualifies for the LEOSA Privilege? This is dated June 21, 2016, looks like. Within my first week as an attorney at the NRA, I took a call on the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act. I admittedly knew nothing about the law, but in my post-military arrogance, I assumed there would be nothing too complex about responding to an inquiry from a fellow Marine. Oh, hoorah. On a 2-page law. Little did I realize that almost 6 years later, a large portion of my time would still be devoted to clearing up all the misconceptions there are about LEOSA. All right, it talks about the employment requirement. Many of you may recall a story from earlier this year regarding the arrest of a Pennsylvania State Corrections officer in New Jersey after his vehicle was struck by a drunk driver. Upon informing the responding officers that he was in possession of a firearm under the false assumption that he was protected by the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act, he quickly found himself facing a minimum of 3.5 years in prison over a charge of unlawful possession of a handgun. There were many conflicting reports over the applicable law and what, if anything, exempted the officer from New Jersey's archaic firearm laws. But here's what really happened. The officer in question believed his state of Pennsylvania permit afforded him protection in New Jersey under the erroneous belief of a reciprocity agreement between the states. It was the media who distorted the narrative, claiming that LEOSA applied and protected him from prosecution. The charges were ultimately dropped, but it had nothing to do with LEOSA. Okay. The unlikely facts leading to the correction officer's arrest in New Jersey should serve as a cautionary tale to many who carry under the false belief that the LEOSA privilege extends to them. There are many qualified law enforcement officers / qualified retired law enforcement officers that fail to realize they qualify for the LEOSA privilege, such as animal control officers, coroners, arson investigators, to name a few, but my experience shows there are far more who falsely believe they do. And the thing is, I don't want to falsely believe I have a legal privilege when I really don't. And I guess it would be different if I were in a more gun-friendly state. But when I get to the northeast of the country, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, New York, all those vile, nasty, foul places, and then the extreme west, Oregon and California, I get real nervous because I understand that there are two Americas. There's America with a C and there's America with a K. America with a C, those are the red states. That's where I can carry my gun. I have my Second Amendment rights, my freedom. And then there's America with a K, where it's almost socialist and communist, and it's getting that way over here on the West Coast, like it is up in the Northeast. And, the thing is, can I carry under LEOSA because I'm an auxiliary officer with my local county sheriff's office in Michigan? Well, maybe. I just don't know. And the sheriff couldn't give me a straight answer either. So you know what? If the sheriff can't give me a straight answer and this guy from the NRA-ILA can't give me a straight answer, then I'm not going to assume that I have that privilege and run the risk of a felony conviction, because that's what it would be. I do not want that felony conviction on my record. I could lose my right to keep and bear arms. I just don't want that. Plus, it could cost me 5 figures in legal fees. Let's face it. The proud part of me, the ego part of me, wants to carry here in Oregon. But the chances of me being accosted and need my gun to protect my life aren't that great over this 8-day period. So I'll bite the bullet, no pun intended, and I'll finish out my time here, and then I will say goodbye to the West Coast, and I won't have to come back here for another 2 years. Hopefully by then, maybe we've gotten national reciprocity or something like that. Don't hold your breath, but it would be nice, right? In the meantime, I'm going to roll down my window here. You smell that? I'm on the side of a mountain overlooking the ocean. So there's like the coastal mountain range here. I've got rhododendron all around me, and I'm not going to miss the politics of the West Coast, but I will miss the extreme beauty, the smell. The smell is incredible here. When you go up north, here in Michigan, we call it up north, right? And you go up in the Upper Peninsula especially, go up to the UP, and you just walk out into the woods. It has a different look, a different feel, a different smell. The ground is kind of springy and spongy underneath you because there's so many centuries of humus underneath your feet. And you just bend down and you smell that earth, the good earth. That's the way it is here. And I will miss that. But I will not miss my lack of freedom. I won't miss the homeless people. I won't miss people telling me I can't have a plastic bag. I won't miss having someone pump my own gas. I won't miss that either. There's a lot of things I won't miss. But I will definitely miss the great wild outdoors, the mountains, and the oceans of the West Coast. Why is it these extreme liberals, they seem to infest, like a virus. They seem to infest all the most beautiful parts of the country, and then they just totally destroy the civilization there, and then they move on. They're a deadly cancer. Anyways, I don't want to leave you in something vile and nasty. I want to leave you in a good mood here. So let me leave you with something positive here, okay? You can tell me where you think this comes from. Whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Be careful of the news, folks. The news will drive you batty. It'll drive you crazy. It'll drive you insane. So just relax, take a deep breath, focus on good things, and you'll probably make it back okay. Well, I guess we're about done now. I'm done with the West Coast. This is episode 137. If next week I do episode 138 and I'm still on the West Coast, it means something really bad happened. It means California got that third earthquake and I didn't quite make it across the Continental Divide. But, hey, we will see what happens. I will do my best to be home. Well, okay, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of the Home Defense Show. Until next week, remember your purpose in life is to find something greater than yourself and serve it. Always remember, God, family, country, in that order. It's important how you live, but it's equally important how you die. Your family and the ones you love need protection, so train, always train, stay alert, stay alive. Until next week on the Home Defense Show, this is your host, Skip Coryell. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America. And God, get me off the West Coast. Have a good week, folks.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best in home defense.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!